Hey, if we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Gabriel Walters and I'm a certified financial planner. I'm also the founder and owner of Steadyworth, and at Steadyworth, we help equip people with the tools and information that they need to live a life that they're excited about today while also staying within their means and planning for a bright financial future. I have a question for you. Do you have any dreams or any goals that you've just been putting off saying right now is not the time, now is not the time, or I'll wait till later? If so, this video that we made today is for you. I had a dream one time that I really wanted to move to Miami and start my own business. I'm actually living in that dream, living in that goal, accomplishing it, walking in that right now. And in today's video, my wife and I, we're gonna tell you how how we actually together took that dream, that vision, and from just being something that I fantasized about to actually living and walking into it. We felt like this could be encouraging as we step into 2024. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I'll see you in the next screen. We're going into 2024, what are some of those things that you've been thinking about that you can put into action that is like, you know what, I can see this thing happening this year? Welcome back. It's been a few months and we have missed you, but we thought as we kind of get into the end of the year, you know, today's November 30th. So as we're about to kick off December, get into the holiday season and also preparing for 2024, why don't we touch on some things about really visualizing what our dreams and goals are and getting them to become reality. So we're actually going to share part of our story about how we moved to Miami and some other things and how financial planning play into it, just so that you could take some of these tips and tricks and add them into your thing as you go into 2024, so that you can move from taking your 2023 dreams and making them into a 2024 reality.
Yes, we're so excited. We've told this story hundreds of times, it feels like, and everyone we've talked to is really encouraged by the story, and it just shows the power of setting an intention, getting an idea out of your head and writing it down and making a plan, and just taking action on that plan and seeing and seeing how that all plays out. So we're super excited to share this story. There's a few tips and tricks kind of built in, like Gabe said. And so do you want to kick it off with the first part, just because this is like one of your longest dreams?
Sure. So, you know, as many of you guys know already, if you're not new to the channel, that I've always wanted to live in Miami, and we currently live here. And so even at my old job was decorated like Miami, and my cubicle was called Miami at my old job. And so with that, you know, even though I always wanted to live here, I never fully made a plan to move here until the beginning of 2022. So it was like when we thought, it was literally January 1st, it was New Year's Day, 2022. I got up, Laura was already on the couch and she was writing in her journal, and she goes, hey, why don't we book a trip to go to Miami? We've been talking about possibly moving there. Why don't we see about what it would be like to move there? You want me to keep going?
Yeah, and I think just one thing I would add is, like, this is something that we had kind of been talking about for like the previous year, like, hey, do we want to move? You know, one thing that I think COVID did for all of us was really help us kind of sit back and reflect on our current lives, and if we wanted to, and if those lives were actually reflective of what we wanted, right? And as we kind of went through that period, we were like, if we could be anywhere, go anywhere, where would it be? Like, where would we be? And so both of us kind of looked at each other. We were like, the beach for sure. And so it kind of brought up this whole old new current dream of Gabe's of living in Miami. So that kind of led us to the New Year's Day actually of 2022.
Yes.
Where I was like, hey, like, I've got an Airbnb credit, like, let's just go for it. Like, let's book a trip. This hotel this Airbnb on the beach is like $99 a night. Like, let's just go for it. And so we booked a trip. And so I think that, like, the number one point we really want to make here is, like, you know, oftentimes when we're working through our lives, we have ideas about what we want to achieve, but we never translate those ideas into a clear goal, right? So this idea that you've had this whole time was like, okay, like, let's go to Miami. And it was like, okay, let's actually go to Miami with the intention of, if we move there, where will we live? What will we do? What neighborhood would we want to live in? And we didn't necessarily have a criteria at that point, but as we'll get into as we tell more of our story, we started to build a criteria and started to build a list of, like, what we wanted and what we didn't want in our new home. So yeah, that's kind of like the first piece,
Sure.
and then the next piece. Is there anything else you wanted to add to
Yeah,
that?
so I would say So I'll just fast forward to the trip. So we booked the trip. It was like 4 weeks from so the end of January of 2022, and then just by happen chance, so Laura had an Airbnb credit, but also we wanted to round out and stay a few more days. So I booked a hotel at just in one of a neighboring beach city called Sunny Isles, and I was doing my best because I really wanted to book a hotel in South Beach. I knew we're not going to move to South Beach, but I like South Beach. But it worked out that I booked this hotel in Sunny Isles, and right next to Sunny Isles is a small city called Aventura that I had no idea about, and literally from the hotel that we booked to where we live at now is less than a mile. But from booking that hotel, and I was doing everything I could have to get out of staying in Sunny Isles because I wanted to stay in South Beach even up to the week of going on this trip. But then it worked out because we got to the Sunny Isles area and we were like, you know what? We like this restaurant. We like this coffee shop. We kind of like this vibe. We like this beach area. We like that it's quiet. It's a little bit slower. And then as we were on our trip and looking for what type of apartment we want to live in, we figured out we wanted to live in a townhouse because I like to barbecue. We didn't want to be in a high rise, and just some other things too. We wanted a garage and a driveway, and so then we actually found a townhouse community right by this area. So as we were going through all of this, but a lot of what we wanted unfolded as we started taking action towards what it is that we were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and I think this really highlights just like the next key point that we want to highlight is like you can have an idea and you can turn it into a clear goal, and then obviously the next step is what's your plan? Like what are the steps you're going to take in order to move you closer to that vision, closer to that goal. And so for us, it was like we didn't really feel comfortable moving to Miami. I didn't. The me side of we didn't feel comfortable moving to a city where we knew nobody, we had no family, and not know where we wanted to live and where we wanted to be. And so coming here, renting a car, truly scouring every neighborhood. So not only did we do research online, but we also drove through every city. Some we spent like 2 minutes in, we were
Right.
like, no, definitely not, maybe, possibly. And then when we kind of came through, and one of the words that I used to describe the trip was actually providence, because it just felt like things sort of were aligned without us even making a very large effort. So I think sometimes, when you actually go to a place and make a plan, you start to see things that you would not have seen if you didn't go. And so those are just some of the things that we did in our plan to move forward and take steps forward. And that kind of brings us to our next key point, is like really taking action in faith, right? And so when we got home from that trip, we were really fired up because we actually found the place that we are recording this video in right now. We had toured the place. We were super excited, and we were like, okay, so when the time comes, like this is the place that we're going to live. And then we came home and Gabe did the financial planning conversation.
Right. So we sat down, we reviewed our current budget, and just like how much money we had coming in, how much money we had going out, what were our expenses, also like if we were to move when, it's January, or actually at this time it was the beginning of February, because our trip was the end of January into a few days in February. So it was like the first week of February. And so we're like, okay, when would be a proper time for us to move? And so we kind of projected out and we're like, okay, if with the money we need to accumulate, which after I did the math for like getting a pod, shipping our car, buying tickets, paying last month's worth of rent, all of this stuff, I came up with, in my mind, I said, roughly that's gonna cost about $20,000. And I thought, with the money we have right now and the money that we need to save, why don't we plan to move for a move date in August? And so, also, we did one of those pods, and this isn't a commercial for pod, but I just want to say that after I had done all the research, I said, I called the pod people, and I got all the price points, and after I did all the research and figured out I wanted to go with them, I just went ahead and booked the pod. I said, I'm gonna book it for July, because I'm gonna book it for July, and I booked it for like the last Thursday in July, because I said, we're going to move in August. So I just booked it for that date. And then we started getting rid of some stuff and, just kind of downsizing. Like when you are moving across the country 3,000 miles away, you have to really be connected to whatever it is you have, because you're paying to move every item across. And so it's like, hey, do I really want to take this into what we're calling my dream life? Like, am I going to wear this shirt in my dream life? Am I going to wear these shoes in my dream life? These sandals going to my dream life? Is this notebook going to my dream life? You know, because we were about to be living the dream. And so, you know, so we started kind of downsizing some stuff. And what else do we do?
Those were like the two main things. And I remember actually I was working
Or three. Just want to say, it's not to get you off, but three. Yeah, we set the budget. We said it was going to be $20K.
Yes.
We got rid of stuff and booked the pod.
Yes. So all of those things, like, we kind of did in faith with the idea that we're really going to make this happen, regardless of what kind of comes against us, regardless of what, you know, what's going on in our lives. We really want to make this happen. And so I think just those steps of faith really encouraged us. I mean, I remember working and Gabe came in and it was like, oh, by the way, I booked a pod. And I was like, wow, great job. You know, like really putting your faith out there. And the really cool thing about this is pretty much 8 weeks to the time we got home. I had actually had I had went on a trip for work and came back. And at the time, Gabe had, you know, moved into my apartment that I had lived in for the last 4 years. I was a resident manager for that apartment building. It was 16 units. Basically, I helped do some upkeep, manage some of the tenants and stuff like that. So it was like my little side hustle job when I worked full time as well. And, literally we got back I got back, and on April 1st, the property manager was like, hey, want to, you know, talk with you and talk through a few things. And so we sat down on the couch, Gabe and I was super tired and jet lagged. And our property manager basically said, you know, the building owner wants to sell the building, and he wants to give you $20,000 to move out. So Gabe and I... In 30 days. So we had 30 days to move out, and we had $20,000, which was our exact budget for moving to Miami. So Gabe and I literally looked at each other and we were like, okay, like if this isn't a sign that we need to go, I don't know what is. And so he left. We ended up getting online, applying for this exact apartment that we're in right now, and really going for it. Yeah. He had to call pods back and reschedule the pod, and we were, you know, off and running. And so
I remember going and getting we went to Home Depot the next day to go get some boxes, and you know, and of course we know everybody who's in the 16 unit building, and we're working there as the resident manager. So it's like, you know what, we got to wait till it's dark and bring these boxes in the back, because we didn't want to just come in the front, because it's kind of on the under, because this wasn't common knowledge yet that the owner was selling the building or that we were moving out. So it's kind of like a big secret. So we named it, you know, Operation something, you know.
I forget what it was called.
I think it was called Operation Gold Coast.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and so we just named it like a secret code name, and we had a folder that we put all the stuff for the folder, and so we could track our expenses and budget for how much money we were spending on all our moving stuff. But yeah, that definitely, once that happened, you know, it's like, hey, we're already taking steps towards it, and then all of a sudden $20,000 kind of just appeared. And so then it was like, oh, hey, it's go time, let's go. And so
I think the one thing that I want to just add that kind of is reflective of also some of the work that we do with our clients as well, that kind of mimics this whole process, right? It's one thing to have an idea about what you want to do, and it's another thing to turn that thing into a clear goal, right? Which is what we said at the beginning, right? Having a plan obviously is important to our ethos at Steadyworth. You know, you need to have a financial plan. And in order to kind of accomplish your goals. And so one thing that we really have seen is, you know, create your goals and create a plan, but also like really look at your budget, really look at your money, really look at your dollars. A lot of people have big dreams, big goals, and they end up going into debt in order to do it, right? But if you think through what it's going to cost, you can weigh out the, you know, you can have your trade-offs, you can have you can sacrifice different things for that bigger goal. And so it's just one way that system, or that way in which we work with clients, has been something that we do in our own lives, and that we found to be really successful and really helpful when we're looking to achieve our goals.
Yes. And I also want to just throw in something here. It's like, you know, it might, and us telling this story might be like, oh, well, that's cool for you because you guys got $20,000 that came out the clear blue, and, you know, it doesn't really sound like many trade-offs. I mean, we spent my math was $20,000, but now, as you know, if I had to say it again, I'd probably ask for maybe like 35, because there's like things come up and you don't know what you don't know. I mean, I had moved across country before, but it was way different. I wasn't married at the time. I was just going to grad school, and life was just different. And so, so there has been, there were other things like, from moving across country, our rent price kind of tripled, because as she mentioned that she was a resident manager, so we got discounted rent, whereas now we're moving to a state and a city where many people are moving to. So we moved in at the top of the market at that time, paying rent. Also our grocery budget went up just because of the way inflation and things are happening here in Florida. So there were a lot of things that as we got here, we had to dial in the budget and just think, okay, well, these expenses are less, but these expenses are more. Hey, I live by the beach, but now actually I have a line item for parking to go to the beach. And I know that might sound like whatever, but parking is a big thing out here in Miami. So like they charge for parking dang near everywhere. You go to Trader Joe's, almost you pay for parking. Parking and toll roads are big things in Florida. That's how they bring in more revenue. And so there's a lot of trade-offs and different things that were added to our line item and budget. And so it's like, even though I do feel like we're honestly living the dream. At least, I mean, Laura has accepted my dream, and she's loving it too, and we're living it together. But things aren't perfect. Every day we're working to make things better. Every day we're still reviewing, like, how can we dial this in? How can we make these things better? We're also doing trade-offs. Like, nothing is perfect, but the goal is to constantly be working towards that thing. And like she said, and like I mentioned at the beginning, all of these times all these years that I've talked about moving to Miami, it's literally only been a dream. But if a goal without a plan is just a wish. Once we put a plan into action, things started unfolding, and that's what we really want to encourage you guys as we're going into 2024. What are some of those things that you've been thinking about that you can put into action? That is like, I can see this thing happening this year. And like I said, just like when you start putting momentum behind something, who knows how long it's going to take. A lot of times it happens a lot quicker. Like I said, I was dead set on like, we're going to do this thing by July. We're going to be there in August. All of a sudden, we were here in May, because we were out by April and moved in May. And so what did you have any other thoughts that you wanted to add?
I would just say, as your own step of faith, like, drop some of your wishes or goals into the comment section of this YouTube. We would love to hear them. We would love to comment. We would love to encourage you in those things. That's kind of we love to see people really go after it and accomplish their goals. And so drop some in there so we can see what you guys have planned for 2024.
Yeah. I was also going to say, in our online financial planning course, and I'm not trying to sell it here, I just want to say one thing that we talk about in this is that we say all goals require two things, which is income and action. So if you have a goal, you have to be putting income behind that goal, and you have to be putting action behind that goal. Because if you're not putting your money behind it and you're not putting your time behind it, then you're not working towards it.
Yeah, and I think I would agree, and we've just seen that so much in our lives. I think sometimes it can also be scary or intimidating. You may think you don't make enough money, or you're nervous to look at your finances. I am a recovering anti-budgeter, so I've been there before and totally understand. But I really do feel like there is, and I've seen this in my own life. Like when I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm done doing it this way, living life this way. I really want to go after X. Life seems to open up for you, right? And I feel like,
Absolutely.
God really opened a door for us to come to Miami and live this life and do this and live near the beach in the apartment complex that we looked for. And so like I said, it was kind of providential that we ended up in a hotel less than a mile away, where we actually park in the parking lot to go to the beach every time we go to the beach next to that hotel. And so, we just want to encourage you to go for it. And, if you have any questions, go ahead.
I'll say in closing, I wanted to just touch on these, on just give you a few things in closing. Is your thoughts and beliefs have more power than you may think. So make sure you watch what you think, watch what you believe, and believe what you actually want to see happen. Not what's happening, but what you want to see happen. Really believe that. Be intentional. Get very clear, crystal clear on your goals. I always say, as we're going into Christmas time, even Santa makes a list and checks it twice. Make that list and check it twice. Believe in your ability to achieve them. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. And also make sure you appreciate where you currently are. That's the other thing. You want to appreciate where you currently are, because if you don't appreciate where you are, then you just become somebody who's constantly going, I need to get to the next goal. I need to get to the next goal. I need to get to the next goal. Because of course we moved here and we're in this apartment now. I'm like, hey, there's a house down the road I like, and there's this condo there, then there's this and there's that. But you know what? I'm trying to do to the best of my ability. Like, how can I just appreciate being in this apartment right now? Because I've been in here for 18 months. And 18 months ago, I wasn't even here. So how can I, at every moment, every day that I'm here, how can I get up and just be thankful? Thank God. Thank you, Lord, that you moved me here and that you actually allowed me to see this so that I can be here and just be present in this moment and be thankful for what I already have, instead of automatically thinking, okay, I need this, I need this, I need that. Because when you're thankful for what you already have, then you feel that abundance that's already in your life, and it helps to bring more as, having that gratitude.
And it's going to help you, let go of things that you don't necessarily or you don't actually need, right? And help you grow your wealth at the same time as you achieve your goals. So we just want to encourage you. And
I think that's everything.
That's it.
Yes.
See you soon.
Have an awesome day. See you soon.
Bye.